All right, well, good afternoon. My name is Erin Wedderbrook Yaskitis, and on behalf of the Greater Boston Chamber of Commerce, I am delighted to welcome you to the information session on our Women's Leadership Program. So, the purpose of today's session is to give a broad overview of the Women's Leadership Program specifically, which is part of the Learning and Development Department, and then also walk through graduation requirements, previous class results, what the recruitment and application process is like, and then certainly allow for any questions that you all may have. So to start off with, I want to orient you to our team. So I've already introduced myself. I'm the Senior Director of Learning and Development for the Chamber. And on this webinar, we also have my colleagues Colin Wilson and Kelsey Archer Miriam. And the three of us are the L&D team here at the Chamber, and we fall under the larger programs team. So to put that in context, our portfolio consists of different types of programs. Women's Leadership Program falls under the long-term cohort programs because this is a 9-month program. It is longer term. We do recruitment every year, and the other one is our Boston's Future Leaders program, which we will not go into in this webinar. We're currently in the process of developing a new virtual certificate program. And previously, for 5 years, we offered a virtual transformational DEI certificate, which we retired at the end of 2024. So new things are in development. And on the shorter term, we offer half-day workshops. So for people who want to work on leadership development, build new skills, but don't necessarily have 9 to 10 months to devote to a particular program, we offer very targeted types of programming, like our management crash course, which we offered this spring. And coming up in June, Kelsey and I are going to be teaching a half-day workshop, Strategic Communication for Better Collaboration. So those are always some ongoing opportunities, even if you decide that some of these other programs may not be a good fit. So constantly either in session with WLP or BFL or developing new programs. And then more broadly about the Chamber, some of you may already be familiar with the Chamber, but we are an independent nonprofit organization that is the convener, voice, and advocate of our region's business community. And we work to provide our members with opportunities to work with us in a variety of ways. But our chief aim is to make Greater Boston the best place for all businesses and all people to thrive. And we do that in a variety of ways, as I mentioned. Learning and development opportunities are one. We offer a wide variety of events throughout the year. Some of you may have attended our annual meeting, which just happened on Tuesday, the biggest event in the business community. We have lots of events that I won't go into, but please check out our website. Many, many different ways to engage with the Chamber. We also have our policy department. We are a 501(c)(6), so we do lobby on behalf of our members and their business needs. And in addition to that, we have the Chamber Foundation, which works more on the people side, workforce development, young professionals, and some initiatives with Boston Public Schools as well. Never a dull moment here at the Chamber. And like I said, we encourage you to stay involved by participating in any one of those ways. And then certainly, we of course want to share more about our programs. So before we go into the overview of WLP, I do just want to take a moment to say that research has indicated over and over again that diversity pays. So companies with more diverse leadership attain 73% more in revenue from innovation than less diverse companies. Many of our member companies already know this, and I suspect those of you who are interested in this program know this as well. But there is a very clear business payoff to elevating women into leadership positions. And our goal with the Women's Leadership Program is to close the gap at the C-suite level and to make sure that we're achieving gender equity in the workplace. All right, so our purpose for the webinar today is an overview of the Women's Leadership Program, or as we call it, WLP. It empowers women leaders with the skills and the network they need to excel in their own careers and to create the conditions for other women to thrive. So because of that gender equity in the workplace piece. We not only want to empower you as a leader, but we want you to empower other women and to make change in your organizations as well. So the Women's Leadership Program falls under the larger Women's Network, which is part of the Chamber. And the Women's Network consists of several different things. So one, we have an advisory board that's made up of dynamic women from across our membership. And each January, we host the Pinnacle Awards, which is a very large business event where we honor women leaders in the business community. Fantastic event. It's a lot of staff's favorite event because it is just so fun, so inspiring, so colorful. And then in addition to that, that's a big event. We do forums. So we offer more intimate events for women to connect, to hear from women CEOs or other women leaders. And those happen throughout the year. So if you're not part of our women's network and want to join one of these events, please sign up for the Women's Network newsletter. That's the best way to hear about any opportunities that we have for women professionals in the greater Boston area. And technically, WLP falls under the Women's Network. So there's a lot of connections there, and we're very passionate about making sure that our WLP graduates leave feeling very connected and networked in the Boston area. Now, our three core components are academic content, practical application, and social capital. And what that means is this is the recipe for chamber programs, and feel very strongly about this recipe. In Greater Boston, there are a lot of opportunities for leadership development. You can go to a lot of different places. So why come to the chamber? Well, the chamber always has academic content. We have scholarly foundation to our long-term cohort programs. For Women's Leadership Program, we partner with Simmons University Institute for Inclusive Leadership. So we want to have that academic content. However, we don't want it to just have a scholarly feel. We want to make sure that there is a practical component, that our participants take what they're learning and immediately put things into place at their own organization. And the social capital piece is the networking, the connections, the people. So each class is made up of a different group of women, and all of those women make the class what it is. And repeatedly, we hear over and over that the participants feel their favorite part is other participants and getting to work, collaborate, network, brainstorm, and cheer each other on. So each of those carry the same amount of weight, the academic piece, the practical application, and the social capital. I'd also like to add that we don't just lead sessions with faculty from Simmons. We also bring in other leadership consultants and delivery partners as well, so that our participants hear from a variety of perspectives and a variety of different voices. So what does this look like played out? Our team is very concerned with the participant development and making maximum impact, not only on the person, but on the organization and certainly on society at large. So I've kind of put different topics in these buckets to help you think about where we start with individual development. We go into finding and flexing your leadership style, how to develop networking skills, public speaking with confidence. We look at team and organizational leadership. So how do your circles of influence grow? Team management, negotiations, and individual action projects. These are projects that our participants design, scope, and implement on their own at their home institution based on what they're learning from WLP. And then ultimately, that circle gets even bigger, and we want our participants to think beyond and outside the walls of their organization. How can I advance inclusive leadership in society? How can I make an impact on gender equity in the workplace? And how can I advocate for others besides myself? So what does that look like if we combine what the curriculum looks like and these core components that I've talked about? Well, the academic content piece, as I mentioned, provides those frameworks, and that's Simmons University Institute for Inclusive Leadership. They lead a variety of specific sessions. But then academic content is also related to the skill building piece. So we have different sessions. There's a few are listed here on public speaking, as I mentioned, strategic communication, and managing teams. That also relates to the practical application piece. What are you taking away and putting into practice, the individual action projects, um, and a variety of other things, reciprocity circles, excuse me, and also thinking about organizational change for equity. And then the social capital piece that I mentioned, all of the amazing women that come together in a class. We provide different ways for them to interact, whether it's informal, online, in person, or with our Women's Network Advisory Board. Excuse me. So for networking and connection opportunities, this is just kind of a breakdown and a deeper look into how we provide the connections. So in sessions, we always do breakout groups. We try to get different groups of people together, so you're not always sitting with the same women over and over. We encourage attendance at our in-person networking receptions that are built into the curriculum. We provide you with peer mentor groups. Excuse me. We provide online opportunities for engagement as well through a class website, a LinkedIn private group. And then we have three opportunities to interact with other women outside of the program itself. Candid conversations, which are led by conversations that are led by women from the Women's Network Advisory Board. We have a behind the scenes of a woman-led business. It's a special event that's part of WLP. Every year it changes who we feature, who we talk with. It's a great networking opportunity and so much fun. And the Pinnacle Awards. And one exciting thing about WLP is that tuition includes a seat at our Pinnacle Awards in January. So commitment and format, we get a lot of questions about, okay, what does this look like? This all sounds great, Erin, but what does it look like in practice? We offer two cohorts for WLP, an in-person and a virtual. The virtual cohort is fully virtual. For in-person, it's 12 sessions over 9 months and about 56 total hours of program time. For virtual, it's 19 sessions over 9 months. We want to make sure those are smaller chunks online so that we're not spending 8 hours on Zoom. And there are 5 optional in-person opportunities for the virtual group. Some are out of the metro area, excuse me, and their schedules may allow them to come to Boston. Some just chose the virtual route because it's easier for scheduling, but virtual participants are invited to those 5 in-person events. And there's a little bit less program time. Some of that has to do more with the lunch hours or the networking receptions that take place. All of the content is the same for both cohorts. And for both of them, I'd say it's about 40 hours of additional time outside of classroom for pre-work and the individual action projects. So there is a bit of work required in prep for classes, but we try to limit that and remember that it's spread out over a 9-month period of time. And the investment is $6,000 per person for in-person and $5,000 per person for virtual. And this is the price for chamber members. So if your company, thank you. If your company is not a chamber member, this is a great motivating factor to become a member because the price jumps to $8,000 per person for a non-member company. And what I want to say is that becoming a WLP participant and a graduate means that you're joining a legacy. It's been going on for 17 years. This will be our 17th year. There's over 1,500 alumni in the Boston community. And it's just such an incredible network of women. And I have to include this quote. I absolutely love it from a participant from our class of 2023. And what she said, I highly recommend WLP for any woman who is in search of herself, in search of a transition, and or in search of support. When I read that, it made me feel so good that the work that we're doing is hitting the mark. Now I'm going to go over graduation requirements and then I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Colin. So in order to graduate, we expect attendance. It's sort of essential. With the partnership that we have with Simmons, if you attend all of these sessions that Simmons leads, you get a Simmons certificate as well as a chamber certificate. So there are some sessions that you have to attend if you want to graduate, and then there's a few that we understand things come up, you might miss one or two. 80% overall attendance is what's required in order to graduate and get the chamber certificate. Getting the Simmons certificate on top of that is just an extra bonus. We expect participation and encourage it in the online group and in your peer mentor group. So we want you to be a contributing member to your peer mentor group, contributing member to the class as a whole. And then the individual action project is required. So completion of each step is required regardless of whether the project is fully wrapped up in a neat little bow. We understand some people, depends on the size of the company, what the project is, that can range dramatically. We often get a lot of questions about this, and it really is what the participant wants it to be. So it can be anything from developing a new ERG at their company to creating a public speaking training plan for oneself or creating a new protocol for their team. It varies widely. So we understand some projects may take 2 years to complete. We just want to make sure that you've gone through the whole process and have completed the steps and thought through and planned that out in order to graduate. Now, previous class results. I'll just share this very quickly. We have lots of results, and I picked the highlights to share from a recent class. And what we're very concerned with is the amount of growth that's taking place as a result of the program. These are self-assessments. So our participants are perceiving this amount of growth in themselves in these areas. So we look at a number of professional competencies. These two are some where we saw the largest growth, and that's identifying and flexing your leadership style and navigating identity-based expectations in the workplace. So our participants are leaving this program feeling equipped and ready to really take on their careers and the work that they're doing. More broadly, we're also looking at personal and professional domains, just larger skill sets. And we saw in this particular class a very big growth percentage for speaking and facilitating, and then also creativity and innovation. And even though that's not a chief aim of the program, we were delighted to see that people are feeling more confident in their ability to problem solve and just think more creatively as a whole. I also want to make a note of employer outcomes. So for some of our participants, you may be interested in this program, but you have to justify the expense to your company. Or you may be looking at this as an opportunity for your employees. You may be in HR or talent development. And so what I want to say is that participants bring back organizational, strategic, and team management skills directly to the organizations. And as I said, because we're the chamber, we want to make sure there is that practical application piece so it can be put into practice immediately. Participants also represent your company or your business amongst a cohort of the city's next generation of leaders. The IAP, the Individual Action Project, has a direct impact on your organization. And then participants collaborate across industries. So they're getting a wide variety of perspectives and building a network that exists well beyond the boundaries of the industry that you're currently in, just helping to connect Greater Boston's business community and helping to propel participants' careers. And now with that, I will hand it over to my colleague, Colin, to walk you through the recruitment and application process.
Thank you, Aaron. Yeah, so I'm just going to go over some of the recruitment and application process and some things to better equip yourself going forward. So for eligible candidates, they're identified as a high potential woman professional at any stage in their career, employed at a current company for at least 1 year, and committed to advancing gender equity in the workplace. As Aaron said, dedicated to full participation, exhibit diverse background, perspective, or demographic, and just be able to bring that unique perspective to the cohort. So I'm pretty broad, but just some bullet points for those eligible candidates. And then going forward with strong applicants, has that manager and company buy-in. So both the manager and company, A, are aware you're in the program, and B, support you throughout the program, as it is from September to May, a big commitment. And nomination from superior within your company is ideal as well. Thoughtful and succinct application question responses, poised for that next career level, being able to demonstrate skills in collaboration and management, and small and mid-sized companies and nonprofits, especially encouraged. Also, through our foundation here at the Chamber, there are limited scholarships available. So, if that number is a little bit weary for the price for you, please reach out, and we're able to work with you any way we can. And then this is just a selection process timeline. Currently, we are in May, so those nominations are open. Recruitment is beginning in June, July. Recruitment continues. Applications are due July 26th. In August, the three of us as a team will review all of those applications, and we will let candidates know. We're actually changing that a bit this year. We're going to change that to a rolling acceptance. So once you apply to the program, we'll review it as quickly as we can, and we will accept you into the program if everything fits. And then September, we are getting ready to kick off. First session will be here at the chamber, and Aaron and us as a team will send those invoices out to you and your company. And then, Aaron, if you just want to click through these, yeah, and here's some insider tips for success. Um, be aware that there's a nomination and an application form to complete. So once you fill out that nomination form, or once a manager or a colleague fills out that nomination form, you will then receive an application. Um, so the nomination alone does not secure access to the program, but we will be emailing back and forth, and we'll CC your manager or whoever nominated you to make sure that everyone is aware of that application. And please get your nominations in sooner rather than later. It benefits you and it benefits my team, so we can make sure that everything is all set leading up to the program. Um, the last minute scramble results in missed opportunities. And please, if you are nominating someone, give your nominees enough time to complete their applications. In a similar vein, notify your nominee they are being nominated and to expect an application from the chamber. And then going forward, make sure that the session dates do not conflict with your calendar before completing the application and signing chamber policies. But with that being said, we do want to make this work. So if for whatever reason you notice that a session date doesn't work for your calendar, don't just be like, "Oh, looks like I can't participate." Please talk to us. We're willing to work with you and to yeah, to make it work. And now for the most important part of the show. I know there's only a few of you, but any questions at all about the program or about Chamber, please go ahead. And also, with this being such a small group, please feel free to use the chat if you want to just plug in, or you have all our details too. You can email us um, anything pertinent.
The one thing I want to add, thank you, Colin, is we didn't address this, but self-nominations are welcome. So for sole proprietors or business owners, you can nominate yourself. We mentioned having a superior. If you're within a large company, we need to know that there's company buy-in for your participation. But self-nominations are welcome for those who are coming from small business or sole proprietor situations.
Yes.
And we are going to make this a recording that will be available. So if you want to share this link with anybody in your companies, please feel free to do that. And as Colin said, we're always available for questions. We'd much rather be able to talk to potential participants to talk you through whether it's the right fit. Maybe you might foresee a hurdle that we know we can get around, and so we'd rather find a way to make it work for you, or be realistic and help you plan. Maybe this is something you'll look for in another year or two. The other thing I didn't say that I want to just add quickly is that so when Colin was talking about eligible candidates, any woman at any stage of her career, I want to stress that we see women from their mid 20s all the way into their early 60s. I would say the bulk of the women probably fall in their 30s and 40s. Um, but we see women literally at every stage of their career, just starting out, some who are ready for, the final phase. They want to really kick themselves into a new gear as they get closer and closer to retirement. Some have made industry changes or department changes or just any kind of career change and are looking for the network and the connection. So we see women um, from every stage, literally. So
And
please, yeah.
just to add on to that's what makes the program so special. A lot of the participants are able to learn from each other, have that diverse background, and really interact with each other and learn more about each other.
Okay, well, thank you so much for tuning in during your lunch hour. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and be in touch. We'll follow up and hope to see your nominations coming through. Thanks for your interest.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone.